What secrets about Hitler were revealed by his closest people. After World War II, the most interesting information is gained by people who were in the same room with Hitler. His secretary, Traudl Young, and his valet, Heinz Lynch, had given testimony which did not at all tally with the threatening figure of the movies. There is one thing that I could not believe, and that is how Hitler managed to hide the presence of Eva Braun. Majority of Germans knew nothing about the fact that she lived next to him. He wanted to create the impression to the people that he was married to Germany, hence keeping him pertinent to women. It is deplorable to note that she stood in his shadow up to the end. There are compelling stories of his dog, Blondie. Throughout the period of time, millions of people lost their lives, and Hitler proved to be devastated more by the death of his dog than the destiny of his country by 1945. He even experimented with the poor animal on the first instance. He at least tried his DH pill on the poor animal. His employees pointed out that he had more interests to Blondie than his soldiers who were defeated. He had become by no means a strong man. His doctor used to inject him a number of times, gave him vitamins, sugar, and even stimulants like amphetamines. He was a trembling and grey-faced figure that slept until 4 a.m., eating chocolate cake and lamenting why people ate meat. Which dress did Hitler prefer to wear when he was in his home during World War II? I was reading memoirs of Karl Krause. He worked long as the personal valet of Hitler. It is entertaining that he appears different when the cameras are off. We always find him in stiff, grey jackets, but Krause writes that at home in the mountains he used to be like any other Bavarian grandfather. He simply hated tight collars. He felt stuck by them. He would put on a Loden jacket when he was at the Berghof. It is a warm, cozy wool coat that is used in the Alps. Is it any kind of a dictator that has plain pants and a white shirt to wear? Another funny part is also of his lederhosen, the leather shorts. Back home he was wearing them to appear rugged in the wild, the way a man of the woods. Later, he felt self-conscious. He was afraid his legs would appear ridiculous and people will laugh at him. He even prohibited his photographer to present such pictures once more. Even his girlfriend, Eva Braun, attempted to get him to appear more civilized. She made him wear men's suits of normal blue or brown to dinner parties. But all that stopped in 1942. In the unfortunate days of the war, he used only to wear his grey uniform. He informs his staff he would not pull it off until the war ended. He persisted to the end, as we know. The soldiers who came back from the dead, the last prisoners of 1955. Majority of the population believes that World War II was over in 1945. However, to thousands of German men, the war had not ended in 10 years. They were retained in the Soviet work camps and were not given permission to visit home till 1955. They were tool-like rather than human beings. The life in the coal mines, the Soviet Union retained these men since they required free laborists to repair their shattered cities. They had to excavate freezing mines. They constructed massive factories and were starving. They were 10 years in the same thin, dirty rags. The handshake that saved them, these men were only released due to a huge political deal. The then West Germany leader visited Moscow to discuss with the Soviets. He vowed to begin a friendship with them, but it would only happen when they released the remaining 10,000 prisoners. It was due to that one meeting that the cage was finally opened. Into a world of magic, when the trains came on the station, the people were shocked. These late homecomers resembled skeletons. They wore the same torn uniforms that they wore in the war 10 years earlier. But they were gone away and the world was different. A world of fire and ruins had they left. They returned to a world of glittering automobiles, of blazing lights, of television sets.